And like, I guess with the Pearls and the Overworld activity, I know that has like to earn those types of busts. Like, how do players actually end up doing that?
So that's our second repeatable activity that I'd mentioned, which is the Arcane Tremors. And so Arcane Tremors is a new type of overworld activity that's really localized around the entrances of the vault. So remember how we were talking about Malphas, and Malphas's sights have become grander now that he controls all the vaults. And so all the constructs are starting to spill out into Sanctuary and cause trouble. Additionally, some new types of hazards have unearthed and are starting to appear around the vaults. And so it's your job to every so often go in and beat back, all these construct invasions or incursions, essentially, that are creating the tremors. And so I can talk a little bit about this activity. We can queue up some video for that too. And so here you've arrived and you see basically a roaming band of constructs. And obviously it's your job to go in and kill them and send them back to where they came from. But that's not all you need to do within this activity. What you're looking to do to really advance the activity is look for these cores that you can use to draw out Malphas's most powerful lieutenants. And so you're getting a core here from an obelisk, which is an overworld hazard, and you've got to make sure to not get hit by that. And if you collect enough cores, you're able to deposit them in a brazier, which you can see on screen here glowing. And the brazier is a signal that you are now challenging one of the heralds of Malphas. And the herald of Malphas you see appearing right there. You and hopefully a bunch of other of your friends will, gang up and defeat the herald of Malphas. Get some cool rewards in addition to those pearls that we were talking about before, which you can then use to supercharge your rewards elsewhere.
Awesome. Yeah, and I know like this being an overworld activity, one thing that, and this is based off of feedback that we've gotten from the community as well, even with Season of Blood, there was Blood Harvest, which were overworld activities, and now there's kind of activities everywhere. And they all have different various rewards for the player, whether that's vaults, whether that's doing some of the activities on the overworld for this season. You have opportunities of actually being able to get rewards kind of all over the place.
Yeah, our intention is for Season 1, you kind of stayed in tunnels, and
Yep.
then Season 2, you kind of stayed in the overworld most of the time. We didn't want to make the players feel like they're stuck and they can only stay in one place and this is it. So the intention is you do some dungeons, you do some overworld activities, maybe do some bounties along the way. You should feel like you're mobile and not, hey, I have to stay here for the season.
Yep.
Yeah, and just another thing that I know we briefly touched on, which was vaults and how there are nightmare variations of that.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's something that is additional to just going through vaults as well. So.
Yep. Yeah, the vaults are fully dungeons in that respect. And so we have the ability and have made nightmare versions of all of these dungeons. And the nightmare versions of the dungeons obviously have more difficult combat, but they also have a lot more rewards. So those chests we had talked about before, the ward-woven chests, you actually get more of those as you advance in the nightmare system. So then your vault runs become even more and more rewarding in that case.
Yeah, and like how would you access something like that specifically?
Right, so we're going to use the Nightmare Dungeon Sigil system, but we've created a way that the game can now award unique seasonal sigils, and in this case they're called vault sigils. And so we did that because, for those folks who really want to focus in on vault play, you can earn the vault sigils, and now you can target farm the vaults instead of leaving it up to random chance.
Very cool. Awesome.
One last dungeon, the
yes.
Mega Uber dungeon. It's kind of it's very large. It's the best features of all the other vaults put into one, and that is where Malphas lives. And so you will be questline, you'll defeat him, and then Uber version of him post questline for the rest of the season.
And so there is an Uber version of Malphas that is even more challenging than the Quest version. And he kind of sits parallel to the current boss ladder. So you don't need to do him for the boss ladder, but it's certainly going to be a bonus for you if you do.
Awesome. So yeah, way more additional content in this season. And and we have a lot of different ways of being able to play and take your character. You can do it activities on the overworld. You can actually use those activities to help you out in the vaults. You can do nightmare variations of the vaults. We have uber vaults now, or with a larger, more difficult vault with a new boss here for season 3 as well. And this is just a little bit of what we have for season 3 with, of course, we have seneschal constructs, which will be around with you all the time. And